Hey guys, BigSweirRoadToRoot.com coming to you from the Jeep today. I want to talk a little bit about schooling and getting schooled. Cliff High had brought up some stuff because I had asked him about some of both of my kids' life's choices. I have 3 children actually. I have a stepdaughter as well. She's already knee deep in her life choices, and all 3 of them are absolutely going their own way. And yeah, they could go to college, they could do well in college, but they're choosing a different path. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. First of all, the schooling part, traditional college these days is, in my opinion, a complete waste of time. Not for everybody, but for the vast majority of people who go to college, who spend all that money and all that time being indoctrinated into a system that's dying. So yeah, it's been tough for me to, because my youngest, or my middle son, is playing soccer in Spain. He could have got into any college he wanted to in the U.S., and he said, that's not what I want to do with my life. I don't want to have a piece of paper that says I graduated from college. So he's in Spain living out his dream, and bravo to him. And he's a learner too. So he spends a lot of time learning certain subjects online that he's interested in, and that is what he has decided to do with his life, and he's extremely successful at it. And if you do something you love, you're going to be successful at it. If you do something that they tell you to do, you're not going to be successful at it. You might make money, you might put up a 4 square walls for your family to live, things like that. But you're not going to be ultimately happy unless you do what you love. And I've always believed that. And yes, I was in banking for many years, in finance for many, many years, 25, maybe 30 if I count, the early days when you're bouncing around from job to job. But I loved what I did. I mean, I was dealing with huge mining equipment, traveling around the world, doing very sophisticated deals, played my role in the system, and I enjoyed it for a long time. Ultimately, it was not that challenging, and it didn't fulfill my soul, so to speak. So I left that, and I did the gold and silver and road to Ruta stuff, and the cryptos came along, and all of a sudden, I'm back in school. Absolutely back in school, trying to learn everything I can, and it's really interesting to me. Not all of it is really interesting. Some of it's way over my head, and I know if I could sit there, if I was interested in computer programming, if I was interested in that field, yeah, I would love to sit and learn it, but I'm really not. I'm interested in how it's going to change the world and how these businesses are being put together. That was my job in the banking world, in the finance world, was to analyze the future value of businesses. And I was good at it, and I'm good at it now. And I love diving into these new crypto blockchain-based businesses that have a solid management team, a good, very good plan on how to go forward. Not necessarily a white paper. White papers are techies' ways to say, hey, look, I'm legitimate. And I understand how some of the stuff is so complicated, you got to put it down on a white paper. But, do businesses out there show their white paper? Where's GE's white paper? Not to talk about GE today, because they just cut their dividend and they're in trouble. But I used to work for GE Capital a long time ago. Anyway, back to schooling. I do believe you should do what you love. I do believe the internet has opened up a vast university for humanity, free of charge for the most part. And that is YouTube and the internet. And you can learn literally about any subject they teach you in college. You can learn it for free. You don't have to waste 4 years. You could probably get a full college education in about 3 or 4 months if you were really diving into it. The same thing you learn in the universities. Now, my dad always said, well, it's the social experience as well. I said, well, yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't be social just because you're not going to college. But yeah, that's my take. And the other thing that is coming, and it is coming fast, is the bankruptcy of a lot of these colleges, especially the government-funded colleges. So you can have people who went 2-3 years, studied their asses off, those people who did, some people just go for fun, but studied their asses off, and then we'll find out that their college institution is no longer open. They get no degree, they get nothing. They wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is what is approaching, because they're all underfunded. They have been spending money like it's going out of style because they can borrow money, and that's going to collapse. And you're going to, I think it was one of the technical colleges, either ITT Technical College or something like that, or Heald Business College. One of those went bankrupt, and people were, they were going to graduate the year it went bankrupt, and all of a sudden they have no degree because the college went under and they can't give them that piece of paper. That's how, it really does bring out the absurdity of the institution when you think about it. All you're going for is this little piece of paper that legitimizes that you have passed these indoctrination courses to work in a field that you truthfully would, you learn more in your first couple months of working in a business as a participant and having responsibilities. You learn more than there in the first couple months than you learned in all your years of college. I'm not saying it's true for every single profession. Obviously, there's things like doctors and lawyers where you do need specific information, but for the most part, I think college is a waste of time. And you can learn to be a doctor, a lawyer, and all that by studying on YouTube, by going to the internet and finding online courses that are 1,000, 10,000 times cheaper than what you're going to pay in the, in an Ivy League school type of thing. And I know all you parents out there are saying, don't tell my children this. Well, the matter of fact is my children told me this. My children, all three of them said, hey, Dad, I can do better. I can do well in my chosen line of work by teaching myself than I could ever get from, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a college education. So I listen to my kids and I'm like, yeah, go for it. And truthfully, I'll back you up. I'd rather spend money on you, learning a vocation, learning what you're interested in so you can be successful in life at it, than sending you to a college that gives you a piece of paper that says, I certify that this human being will be a good worker. We'll be able to shuffle papers, things like that. And because the world is changing so fast. The cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, 99% of the population has no idea what it is today. Next year, about, I would say 80% of the population will know something about the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain and how it's going to change the world. And then the year after that, it'll flop. It'll be, at some point within the next couple of years, 99% of the population will be understanding blockchain, understanding the need for a trustless system, understanding the need to change the old way of doing business to something new. And it's very similar to the internet. When the internet came out in the early 1990s, everybody's like, yeah, nobody knew it. 99% of the population had no idea what it was. And then by the end of the 1990s, almost everybody knew what the internet was. And today, obviously, everybody knows. I would say everybody. I'm sure there's little tribes in Africa or somewhere that don't have electricity and doesn't surf the web. But for the vast majority of humanity, they've been online one way or the other, so pretty much everybody knows about it. With the speed and the speed of change of technology and where we are today, with the vast learning ability through the internet, the blockchain information, the blockchain technologies, the blockchain companies are going to spread much faster. It probably took 10 years for the dot-com bubble to develop, and then it weed out the crappy companies, and then it flourished, and it flourishes today. The web, World Wide Web, www. I remember that first came out in 1989, I believe it was, and then obviously there was military stuff going on behind the scenes before that. Just like there wasn't in the blockchain technologies and Satoshi's white paper. those who have listened to me know what I think of Satoshi's white paper. I do think the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston was involved. I think Alan Greenspan was involved. I think the NSA and the CIA were involved. Doesn't make it a bad thing, my friends. They were searching and still are searching for a way out of the old corrupt system without destroying everything that has been built and without killing a lot of people, because you shut down the old system, you need something in place, and gold and silver could not do it. It just wasn't viable and feasible in a high-tech world. So, that's my little spiel on college, what I think of it. I think every kid should tell their parent whether or not they want to go to college, and the parents should not tell their kid, you have to be indoctrinated and go to college. So if your kid is smart and has an interest in something, I say absolutely don't go to college. Go for your dreams. And you get 4 years head start on everybody going to college. And you can learn everything in college on YouTube and on the internet if you desire to learn it. And that's the key. You got to have a desire to be involved in your profession and love it, because you won't be happy otherwise. That's Bix Weir on the internet, on schooling and being schooled. I'll talk to you later.